Jerome Powell actually stood up for some reality and some facts while Donald Trump was lying in front of him. Let's check this out.
We're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons why we wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. We wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
That's our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
40% over.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look.
So there's Donald Trump lying right there next to Jerome Powell as they're in the buildings that he's been talking about that are being built and apparently have a price cost overrun. So this is the latest attack to try and disrupt the credibility of Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell isn't doing what he wants on something completely unrelated. So as he stands there and says, I got the receipts to show the prices, Jerome Powell, as you saw him shaking his head from the beginning, like, this guy's lying his ass off. Then pointed out, part of that whole thing of the overrun that you're pointing out in your numbers, standing next to your boy here, Tim Scott, who's confirming it for you because he kisses your ass too. By the way, that's from a building that was built in 5 years ago, bro. But he just glosses over all those facts because he knows people at Fox News like Jesse Waters are going to carry his water. Now, remember what you just saw of Jerome Powell talking about, well, that paper you just pulled out is showing some buildings that are completed 5 years ago. Here's Jesse Waters trying to make it seem like a different reality than what it was because he knows the viewers over at Fox will believe anything that they say with these edits. Watch what's missing.
He's burning cash on some renovations at headquarters. Trump knows a thing or two about flipping buildings, so he wanted an appraisal and brought receipts.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just
That's
added.
our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
Then Trump turned the meet and greet.
Jesse Waters conveniently cut out there and talking about how he brought the receipts, those false receipts. Just because you bring a piece of paper that doesn't have reality on it, similar to his tariff poster board that he brought out at the beginning of April, doesn't mean that it's true. Again, these guys operate in this reality of what they've created, and that's just the way everyone else has to live. And that's why you've got propaganda outlets like Fox News doing this. Matter of fact, it's not just Jesse Waters, it's also Sean Hannity. Same thing.
Take a look.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
And coming up, we'll have more from the president's visit to the Fed.
Just no context for how that conversation actually went. So if you give the quote unquote facts that Donald Trump tosses out there and there's nothing behind that, and then you omit all of the actual facts that were given, or even if you want to have it as a discussion, be like, is Jerome Powell right or is Donald Trump right? You would probably present both of their cases and adjudicate that Donald Trump is right because, you know, they carry water for him. But since you cut that part out, that's an automatic admission that you're on the wrong side of this, and you have to cut out actual information to make sure that people don't see the reality of it because you're pitching a particular point of view that is not based in reality. There's also other folks within this administration that are apparently carrying this same water, carrying this same lie. But what they're upset about, the reasons why he's going after him on this completely unrelated issue, because the issue that they actually care about is the fact that Jerome Powell won't lower interest rates. Here's Scott Turner in his administration trying to push that narrative.
You see what's going on in the economy. You see what the president and Congress is doing to bring our fiscal house back in order. And so to me, it's being negligent. It's almost a rebellion, if you will. In 2018, Powell brought down interest rates during the Biden administration.
Right.
And then now you have he won't even bring it down when the economy is thriving. And so I don't understand it, but I think that responsibility and transparency and the president, as you know, is going over to the Fed today.
Yeah, well, we'll see if next week at the meeting, Jay Powell keeps bringing up tariffs.
That's their problem. Maria Bartiromo, who's sitting there as this guy, Scott Turner, talks about how Jerome Powell lowered the Fed, the interest rates in 2018 for Joe Biden. I just want to continue to recap what timelines are. In 2020 is when Donald Trump lost the election. In 2021 is when his mob descended onto the Capitol to try and kill people because he lost the election of 2020. In order for him to lose a re-election in 2020, he has to be in office previous to that. Previous to that is 2016 to 2020. In the middle of 2016 to 2020 is 2018, the year that this idiot said that Jerome Powell lowered the interest rate for Joe Biden, who was in office from 2021 up until the beginning of end of 2024. Again, maybe I have to repeat it. 2018 comes before 2020 when Donald Trump lost. In 2018, it's impossible for someone to lower the interest rate, Jerome Powell, for Joe Biden, who the fuck wasn't in office yet. So in the back end of that same meeting, Donald Trump was asked more about what it is that Jerome Powell could do to make him happier. And of course, he brings up lowering rates, but then he goes into the reasons why, because Jerome Powell keeps telling him it's because of those tariffs. So in order to try to mitigate that problem, because his tariffs are a disaster, he's trying to push this whole deal he's had with Japan. Check this out. Watch how he goes through this whole thing.
Are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. Other than that, what can I tell you? The country's doing really well. I just briefed the chairman on the deal we made with Japan. Japan is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff. And they also opened their country to free trade, which nobody thought was even a possibility. And we get a zero tariff in the free trade. We don't pay tariffs, and they're going to pay 15% on everything they send into our country. So it's great. But they put up, as you could call it, seed money. Let's call it seed money. You could call it anything you want, but it's a total of $550 billion. So nobody thought any of that was possible.
You've got a country that's thriving. Best economy of all time, golden age. Things are amazing. Everything is wonderful. So we need to bring those rates down. I just want to remind you guys, because again, it's not like he doesn't have the information. And if he doesn't know the information, which obviously he doesn't know much of anything, he could listen to the guy who's talking about why he hasn't lowered interest rates yet and maybe try and create some kind of agenda that would help that happen rather than just forcing it.
If you just look at the basic data and don't look at the forecast, you would say that we would have continued cutting. The difference, of course, is at this time, all forecasters are expecting pretty soon that some significant inflation will show up from tariffs. Now, and we can't just ignore that. But we're not. We're just saying let's wait and see more. That's all we're doing. And if you will have noticed, a substantial majority of the committee has written down rate cuts in the remaining 4 meetings this year. So it's just a question of being prudent and careful. But at a time when the labor market is still strong, we don't see weakness in the labor market. If we did, that would change things. We're going to continue to adapt as the data adapt. But that is the difference between then and now. Then inflation was forecasted to continue to come down. Here it's forecasted to go up by all forecasters. So, and again, we're not overreacting to that. We're just saying, hey, as long as the economy's strong, we can take a little bit of a pause here. And that's what we're doing. And again, continue to adapt as the data comes in.
He's even giving dude credit for a decent labor market. And again, this is the end of June, right before the report came out of talking about the inflation, I believe 2 to 2.5% more. So they're waiting and seeing. And as he waited to see, he's seeing that inflation is increasing. So why would he do such a thing? Again, you just have to pay attention, or you have to actually have a concern for the American people rather than just for himself, and trying to artificially make his policies be seen as something that's great.